Alright, hey guys. I'm back again doing reviews. It's been a while. I've taken a bit of a break from watching Overwatch completely and mainly just watching League and CSGO and then taking a break from coaching for a bit, but kind of renewed and I kind of want to get back into it. And I think having this series, especially where I tell myself I need to review series, will force me to watch them, will force me to be critical, will force me to watch games all the way through because sometimes, especially when teams get 3-0s, that fourth game is usually really awful to analyze and even watch, but forcing myself to watch it, seeing if there's any trends and stuff, and like really watching teams that I need to if I'm going to be coaching for a certain region is kind of important. So I'm going to be doing this series again. Hopefully I will cover more regions. I think before I was really just watching NA, EU, some Australia, and then I was completely ignoring China, even though we ended up scrimming a lot of Chinese teams on blank, and then Pacific teams I barely watched at all, and we scrimmed a lot of Pacific teams whenever I was coaching blank. So we'll go forward with this series. Yeah, let's go through. I don't know a ton about the new MindFreak. We used to scrim the old MindFreak a little bit, but
We're starting off with our champions from 2018, the Sydney DropBears. They have
so there's going to be like major differences between these two teams because I know the DropBears scrim literally the best Korean, Chinese, and Pac teams, while a lot of the middle to bottom table Australian teams will only play each other, and then they'll play like even trials teams. So very quickly on, we will notice that a lot of DropBears actions are going to be much more intelligent. People are going to be playing in different positions. Bertlog is probably going to be going way aggressive and actually trying to poop the Rhine. Well, a lot of the lower tiers Lucios in Australia are definitely going to be playing more defensively and like playing more with their team, where the meta's kind of developed where Lucio is playing a much more flank heavy style and a much more let's wall right up, let's try to boop the Rhine in, let's try to shoot people in the back, because he really isn't threatened by much in this comp. So
yet to lose finals here in Contenders Australia. So how is 2019 going to work for them? MindFreak going to be going up against the first to one.
I don't know if T-Watt, I don't even know how to say his name, T-Watt, needed to do that. He definitely could have just started to hold shield. As you can see that like MindFreak tried to walk through Garden. And you can just play it slow. Like if you are going to get the pick advantage, you literally can play the slow fight a little bit slower and just absolutely bleed them out with damage.
Going to get back now onto the point, trying to contest MindFreak up to 13%. 6 on the point now from the DropBears.
Yeah, that re-engage was really bad. Shoyu was in like a perfect position to like shoot anyone who was going coast in the side or just threaten them where they had to walk forward. Like if they were walking coast a little bit more, he's in the perfect position, Bert's in the perfect position to just walk up and boop them off. So if you're playing goats, you definitely want to spend as little time as possible on coast and then get the point, get to either the point or get to like box. So at least you have a little bit of thing like back behind you so you don't just get booped off.
Yeah, MindFreak coming back on public transport while the DropBears have a chauffeur. There we go, going to push this one through. T-Watt going to come out with the Earth Shatter, looking to find some kills. The rest of the team will follow up.
Yeah, he didn't need to use that grav.
They're going to get caught a little bit far back right now.
I think he thought that he probably could have done a lot more with that grav. But unfortunately, unless you're popping trance, and if the other team is popping trance, you have to match. Like, you have to mirror, or the Ryan's just going to walk in and he's going to mass cleave.
Here's the grab coming out from the DropBears. What are they going to follow this up with right now? Look at this. The self-destruct comes through.
They have the trance for that fight, which is probably fine to use trance, but you have to save your bubbles if you're Addy. Like, you shouldn't be dying to Diva Bomb like that if you have your Zarya saving her bubbles for that engage.
Yeah.
But I think looking at this match right now, we're really just seeing the fundamentals that Sydney DropBears possess being so much better than MindFreak.
MindFreak should be getting beat here, and they should just be going aggressive with that.
No, it's definitely a difficult first matchup here for MindFreak. We'll see what they can do this time around. Earthshatter
Yeah, they end up using it. Well, they had to spend a little bit more time building it, but Davey ended up being in a bad position where the beat came so late and he was discordant already like kind of low. He ended up having to hold shield for most of the beat, where you ideally want the Rhine to be using his cooldowns with the Zarya bubble, so he's running up and swinging with the Zarya bubble. And then even though he gets discorded and he's going to have pressure on him, you have the beat immediately following up after, so you can stay in that aggressive position, and you also force the other team to use beat at the same time. It's like it doubles as like you want to like use the beat to continue that aggression basically, and don't force your Ryan to be in a position where he walks out because he has to gain ground, but then have him playing like super defensive mid-fight and then use beat as he's low and he's already in that backwards position where then he can't walk forward, because then he's going to be walking forward as the beat's wearing off, and then he's going to be in that position again where he's forward, he's going to be discord, and the beat's going to be completely worn off, and he's going to need to be backing up again unless the fight's already won. So it's a lot of getting good timing and good planning ahead of time, where you're getting that beat off exactly when the Rhine needs it, so he's in the position to do the damage and he's getting the shield.
Yeah, it's definitely a trial by fire here. Control point.
Oh, that is not the play to make Kristoff. He literally just fed his mech really hard.
Bad start here at all for MindFreak. If they continue in this fashion, they should be able to pick up.
DropBears just had really bad positioning there afterwards. I think they just brain farted really badly. So let's watch the start of that fight again. So you don't want to do this position if you're Kristoff. I know you ideally want to be on the high ground, because you want to be sitting up here alone, shooting the Rhine in the back, if possible. But it's really hard to make that happen if it's just this opening fight where they can have full pressure on you, because you can see how quickly they burn him. They take him basically to half HP. And then he's lost a lot of his pressure because he's going to end up getting chased by Shoyo. He's going to end up getting chunked, and then it's going to be really tough for them to come back in the fight as the D.Va isn't going to have pressure behind him.
Yeah, it's definitely a trial by fire here.
You can see they start to split themselves up, though, is the problem. You can see Kristoff is a good bait, even though he probably didn't mean to do that, but you can see how the DropBears end up getting split. Felix, CKM, tries to go for him, he tries to stun him, but he ends up cutting himself off, and the rest of MindFreak ends up rotating onto him. So they have a problem of, if they just stayed over here and Kristoff had just dropped down here alone, then the stun from the Brig would have been really good, because he would have basically just insta-killed him, but he ended up being in a really bad position but by the fact that he chased him. Sure, you got the D-Mech, but then you end up splitting the rest of your team as they're trying to kind of like walk up to save you, but that doesn't really work.
Control point will unlock in 15 seconds. Kristoff gets D-Mech, but Davey comes out. Not a bad start here at all for MindFreak. If they continue in this fashion, they should be able to pick up a victory.
MindFreak ended up staying really centralized with their core 5. Where DropBears ended up being much more split.
Getting back into the fight. Davey pushing a long way forward, trying to cause a bit of a ruckus in the back line, to be fair, being quite successful.
Davy's definitely done a lot of work in that last fight. I think it's really on Syndey DropBears there. What happened was they kind of split up a little bit, whether it was of their own volition or if they got booped out.
Being quite successful.
Davy's definitely
How
done
does Addy fall?
fight. I think it's really
Line, to be fair, being quite successful.
Davy's definitely done.
Oh no. Addy walks up to the door and gets stunned and then just swung on by Rhine.
They kind of split up a little.
MindFreak had like really good control there. Like their Zarya definitely could have just gotten ult first.
Going on to Addy though, so this gives Syndey DropBears an actual chance to re-aggress a little bit earlier than they should have been able to.
Davey sitting with the Earthshatter, tries to walk in behind the shield.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Davey.
Successful, will go down. Splitsaw traded out as well.
That was a bit of a bumper shatter without really the follow-up there or anyone even behind. That would have been a solo Rhine shatter at best.
Hand to score, but eventually the DropBears will bring this one back.
That was really good shield holding there by Tito Watt.
Should be happy with 34%.
Yeah, really good awareness from Syndey DropBears, knowing that with that pick from Addy they can push on forward, and then some nice little individual.
You'll notice a problem with some Rhines, depending on the level that they are at. Whenever they get low, sometimes they'll go for like, oh, I'm going to die, I need to pin, I need to fire strike, I need to do as much damage. You can see the Rhines that are really smart will get good backup from their team, and they'll hold shield and they'll use it properly to damage mitigate and try to stay alive as long as possible and really bait teams in.
Rally as well. MindFreak do the same. Goobs throws out the Transcendence. Graviton Surge coming out from MindFreak as well. Davy's going to go down there too.
Addy did a bit better of a job there actually saving his shields for that grav combo. So that wasn't horrible. Like, they traded ults definitely, but
It's very difficult for MindFreak to push through from here.
Well, this is going perfectly for Syndey DropBears.
they will have a bit of a problem though retaking.
Up to 76% here, so he's had a really big impact on the last one. Now currently almost beating Davey again for those ultimate charges.
Trent's going to come through from a crack and aggressively here, trying to make the most of this. Davey will find CKM. That's not half bad. A good Earth Shatter coming out from him eventually will go down to the support there of a Kraken. The DropBears slowly falling back now, up to 63%. Christoph has the self-destruct available.
I thought for sure Davey would have gotten killed here much faster than he did.
Yeah, so he's had a really big impact on
Because basically what you want to do if you're MindFreak here is you want to go mad aggressive or wait just a little bit for your beat to come up and then start to go like really aggressive and really surprise someone, because you need to force DropBears to use their ults to actually get your economy back on your side of the favor.
beating Davey again for those ultimate charges.
As you can see, they do walk in like together and do a lot of damage. It's really surprising. Davey doesn't take as much damage as I thought he would.
Most of this, Davey will find CKM. That's not half bad. A good Earth Shatter coming out from him eventually will go down to the support there of a Kraken. The DropBears slowly falling back now, up to 63%. Christoph has the self-destruct available. But
I guess MindFreak did a really good job. They basically traded just both Ryan's ults for both support ults. Like, that's really good on a retake of if you're able to trade evenly and come out ahead.
Putting in some work right now for their team, but
Especially when your Zarya has less energy than the other Zarya. That means that your Ryan and Brig probably did a lot of cleave damage.
grab comes through from MindFreak, but they are taking quite a bit of damage. Tita Watt is low. Kraken still waiting to get back onto his ulti. The charge not going to work there from Tita Watt either. And MindFreak are starting to find some picks. This is actually a little bit exciting now, Jordan. The MindFreak team really are sort of taking it to the DropBears.
Sadly, MindFreak used a lot there.
medicine here as Davey
Used 4 ults, and DropBears just used beat.
with that Reinhardt being able to get some two big shatters in a row, keeping MindFreak alive right now. Here comes the Graviton Surge from Huss, and this might be
MindFreak has the right idea again. They need to play aggressive here on the choke and hopefully bait out more ults.
Less than ideal for MindFreak. They're up to 83
Definitely do not want to use armor in that situation though.
onto the point and do so.
When your economy is much worse and you're coming into a fight that you expect to probably lose, even if you want to turn it, I'd say it's probably almost always better to make the safe play. Wait, because in this fight they definitely can start with the rally and then they run forward because they need to play aggressively again, and having the rally give everyone the fat armor stacks before they walk in will lead to a more advantageous fight.
big grab out from Addy, and that's pretty much all they're going to have. Transcendence will keep them alive, but look at what Syndey DropBears have got to play with.
Yeah, the Trans going to be popped immediately there by a Kraken. Tita Watt throws out the Reinhardt ultimate as well.
Yeah, it's probably over with that. And maybe can sneak themselves onto the point.
Before Graviton Surge comes.
They get grabbed, and they're getting cleaved quite a bit though.
It's a last-ditch effort, and it's not going to be enough here. The Syndey DropBears should pick up Li Jiangtao 2-0, but MindFreak giving them something to think about.
DropBears did a good job stuffing them in the choke. I want to see why Shoyo chunked himself.
Much all they're going to have. Transcendence will keep
Did he try to boop them away?
Syndey DropBears have got to play with.
Yeah, that's rough sometimes. You do occasionally, as D.Va, have to boost in and try to like boop the other team away and then boost yourself away as a way of escaping. What's really important though is to make your pathing somewhat hard to hit, as if you're flying in a straight line and you're getting discorded and you're getting shot in the back by Zarya, you will lose your mech very quickly. And he kind of did that right there, where you kind of got to just make the turn. So the most ideal play is basically being on this edge here. Hopefully the Brig isn't there, but sweeping in and basically boosting in and then immediately doing the turn. So you're getting the boost damage where you're hitting them and hopefully stopping their momentum, and then you're immediately flying away and then flying up and then trying to hide behind objects as much as you can because you're a big target and you're flying probably right in front of his high energy Zarya and like potentially Zen, potentially Brig, Lucio. So you can take a lot of damage really quickly. So in this situation, it's kind of unfortunate, but I think if he would have pathed a little bit more to the left, to behind his Rhine Shield or behind this object, he would have had a better chance of living. It is the right idea, though. You definitely do have these situations where your team's trying to kite, and potentially they even have amp, and your team doesn't have amp. And going around with the D.Va to boot people away is the play that you have to make. They ended up having the ult economy like majority of the game, so DropBears, of course, is going to come up on top.